Good evening, good evening, good evening, Relationship Flow. We are here with our Friday night sip and chat with Dr. Carissa and our weekly guest, LaJoya, who prefers to go by Camp. Um,
Okay.
we couldn't get any men brave enough to jump in on this conversation tonight, but that's okay because we got one solicited that we're going to turn the camera to possibly. And as you guys join us and jump into the conversation, you could definitely give us the energy that we're looking for from the male point of view. So I know Carissa, Dr. Carissa, when I was speaking with Camp this week and when sharing with her what topic we had came up with, she shared some interesting stuff that's going to come out. I am so sure.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. When she hit me with the, I'm gonna just say this part because I know it's gonna come up when it's supposed to come up. When she hit me with the number count sheets that, if you got 1,000 count sheets, it shouldn't be no question. I was like, okay. So, we gotta start off. What you sipping in your cup?
Okay, I got a little Patron here.
We on the
Um,
same wavelength.
okay.
Alkaline water.
You it's good you in the middle because you could centralize us because I'm
Yes,
rocking
yes.
1800 margarita.
I told her she should have
Okay.
left some for me at the door, but she didn't let us know that she had 1800. But I'm more of a peach whiskey type of chick, though. But it's all
Hmm.
good.
This is just this
Okay.
week. I got to get birthday party ready. So, whew.
Okay.
I get it. I get it.
So sip and chat conversation this week is: do you use sex as a weapon?
Mhm.
Do you have
Hmm.
you will you use sex as a weapon? Hey,
So,
April.
hey, April. So,
Hey,
what
April.
came to my mind when I first heard this and we started talking about this is
Hmm.
how people think it's really funny because they play this in TV shows, movies, where the woman says, "Yeah, you're going to sleep on the couch tonight," or
Hmm.
"You're not going to touch this," based
Right.
on, if the man gets on their nerves or doesn't do something they want them to do. And yes, it looks funny in a
Right,
movie, but how healthy is this in your relationship in
right.
real life?
It's not.
It's not. I mean, depending on which angle you even want to go, from the psychology to the religion to spirituality to human nature. Like human nature alone would say we define what our body craves for.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
a consequence. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be the consequence.
But it's a need just like food and water and
Whew,
air.
whew.
That's
She
right.
said in the
That's
air.
right. And should
Oxygen.
should it be used as a means of control? Because I was reading reading up on this and the frequency and what it looks like in relationships, and everything points to the idea that the person who wants sex the least is the one that's in control
Mm,
because
Oh, wow.
they're the one that's doling it out. They're the one that's saying when or if you get to do it.
mm,
So they're holding most of the cards when it comes to sex. And
I
if
can
you
see
have to
that.
perform a certain way to get it, then that person does like have the control over you if you
Right.
actually want it.
Well, it depends on who you want it from as well. People have options, even in
Right.
COVID. That's not me. It's not my personal story.
Okay.
The people have options, and the
I
options.
was gonna say I'm outnumbered tonight on this call because y'all both have like committed long-term partnerships, and I'm team single, I guess. Well, I ain't go down to the courthouse and do any of those
Mhm.
situations. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me be clear. I don't want to get no text message or memo.
yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
But that can happen in other relationships as well.
Hmm.
And it also brings up a question, like Camp said, if you have options, then is it okay as a single person to sleep with other people and hold off your main
Your
because
main
they're
boo?
not doing what you want them to do. Because
So
they're
then
not doing what you do.
But it
my
depends.
question to that would be like, are you truly committed to who you're identifying as your main? If in fact you're entertaining these options, like really, where does sex really play? Is it a sport, or is it truly connecting with somebody as far as being intimate?
Well, yeah, but right. But I was also thinking, um, I've been in relationships with known people that've been in relationships. It's like when we're together, we're together.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're not, we're not. It is what it is, and we're not cheating on each other. But I feel like weapon is even used as a tool with friends with benefits because chicks be like, "Oh, can I come and stay? Oh, I forgot my curlers or my toothbrush or this or that." And the guy's like, "Well, not tonight, but you can come on Friday." Like, why can I come tonight? Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I gotta go to work in the morning. AKA, he got a seatbelt in there or another something in there. So let me not say female because it can be anything.
It
But
could.
yeah. So just to clarify that, but I am saying that people use sex as a weapon in friend with benefits situations.
Yeah,
Where, oh,
sure.
I'm not gonna take you out unless you're giving up something.
Or the fact that we went out and we had a great date and I
Right.
spent X amount of dollars, they automatically expect that it's supposed to occur. Like that's supposed to be the closing part of the night, like without any conversation. And no, you have to have a conversation in regards to that.
But that's like if you want dessert, then open a jar of pineapples. I don't like just I'm just not it.
Well, you know, pineapples can be a sensual fruit to utilize in those intimate moments, but
It could be.
I remember having a client, here I go using these client examples again. And this is definitely a 15 plus ago story. And how they were describing how pineapples were instrumental in their intimacy. I was like, okay, let me write that down. What you do? Okay. That made it easier. All right, I understand. But it's like you have to put everything in perspective, because even when you use different games or roles and stuff like that, it can become that you're playing with it. So someone said, what is the topic? The topic tonight is, do you, will you, or have you used sex as a weapon in your relationships?
And is it always only withholding sex?
Right.
Could it be used as a weapon the opposite way? Like if your partner is not as sexual as you are, and you forcing it on them,
right?
Isn't that also using it as a weapon?
I would say so.
How, if you want to, introduce them to elevate their mind to something different, is it a weapon or is it, babe, let's take this to another level?
Well, I mean, just based on a couple that I'm thinking about, it's the person that's not as interested sees it as a weapon because it's like a threat.
Or they're so uncomfortable with whatever the new stuff is.
You gonna give me something tonight?
Well, if that's the case, that's why some women or men, they stick to 2 or 3 positions. That's it. That's all you're getting. Because you're forcing it on me. But I got to do it since I guess I'm married to you. I'm just saying how some people I can see thinking. Since I'm married to, let me go ahead and get this out the way. Straight missionary. Let me just roll over. Let me just roll over and do something.
That's like doing laundry and dishes.
Yeah, it can be. So, but it's not any fun. What's the point of doing it? It's not fun.
Right.
Yeah.
But then some people just have sex to procreate and not so much. Depends on your spirituality, religious values, morals, and all this jazz. So it just, I feel like it just depends.
Let me just roll over and do something. Laundry and dishes. Sorry.
It can be. So, but it's not any fun. What's the point of doing
it? I apologize. I was trying to cheat. I was trying to cheat to see who was commenting if I couldn't see it. Apparently, I ain't do it the right way.
But that's where it's I don't know, it's just a problem. But my thing is when people be like, they try to use sex as a weapon, then I think they don't get what they want on the back end in terms of like certain things, not needs, but just wants. Like you may want a special bracelet, or you may want to go out of town with your girlfriends for a week. Like, I don't know. It's just certain things you may want to do, but you might not get on the back end, or you could be getting, but using sex as a weapon.
So let's take it back for a second, because April shared that it's used sometimes as a negotiation tool, and so what's the pros of it you being a negotiation tool, and then what's some of the cons? Like we said, sometimes people are not comfortable and stuff like that. What are some of the gifts of it, and then what are some of the curses that can come with using sex as a weapon?
I mean, you can get the immediate benefit of having the person out your face,
Oh wow.
but you're not solving any real issues.
Another one, that your mate, partner, whoever can shut you out emotionally. So at the moment you're wanting that physical connection, but then you love the emotional connection. But sometimes with some people, 2 and 2 goes hand in hand. Some people get separated but not all. So that means that you're shutting down, you're not talking to me. Like, for some people it's intertwined. So
I think it also go ahead, Doc.
Now I was gonna say there are so many better ways of getting what you want out of a person. That won't have any long-term effects on the relationship.
right.
There are so many other ways than I'm not giving you none because you made me mad.
Right.
And I think that's stupid.
So do we want to say stupid?
Okay, so I'm not a okay. Let's be clear. I'm very educated, but I am not a counselor. I am not a therapist. I'm a resource person. I am a resource person.
You a very good resource.
I'm a very good resource person, and I'm just kind of blown away. Okay, I shouldn't say stupid. I just think it's very it presents some buffoonery, because I feel like is
that's a better word.
So with this example, I would just say, for example, you a chick, you giving it, you throwing it left and right, because of course you want your boyfriend. For example, you want your boyfriend to move in with you to help pay your bills, and you got all these kids. But you got a lot, or 1, 2, whatever. But you feel like you need help, so you're doing every which way. So that's when I've seen women like just throw it like here, here, here. But then he move in, he doing the cooking, he helping you with the kids and all the stuff, and then you just start withholding. Why withholding now? And you're like, well, and then I've seen women say, "Oh, I'm not giving you any more until you marry me." What you mean? Like, I just think if you wanted that, you went about it the wrong way, but you wanted somebody to help pay with bills. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging. What I am saying, it's different scenarios. You got to play your cards right, but then it becomes crazy because that's all you got to put on the table, because you expecting him or the other person to bring all of this, and you only bringing that or your look. That fades away. So you used in the beginning as a negotiation, but it turns into a weapon, and then it puts him or the other person, your partner, it puts them in a tight bind, and they have to make decisions they shouldn't have to be making, because they love you, they want to help you, they want to see you grow as a person and your kids. It's a package deal. But then it's like, oh, I'm not. You got to sleep on the couch tonight. You got to do this. And my whole thing is, another thing I think is it could be awkward that way also. But my whole thing is, even if I'm mad at you and we had an argument, if I need my needs met and you have needs that have to be met, I can still be mad at you, but I'm not gonna use it as a weapon. I'm gonna be like, let's get it. I put myself in a bind. I just think that's where, I don't know. It sends mixed messages.
If it's what?
It sends mixed messages.
It definitely sends mixed messages.
So that's where it becomes it gets kind of crazy.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it I'm going to say borders on, even though for the reality it is, but it borders on emotional abuse.
Definitely does.
Oh, that's harsh. But it does. Oh wow, I never thought about it like that, Doc.
It definitely is abuse. I mean, and it's one of the power and control situations when, I mean, we go into domestic abuse and how sexual abuse comes into play. It's definitely like a layer of abuse, because it's the emotionality, of it. It's the connectivity of it. It's abandonment, that, okay, no, you're not able to function in this particular way. But then, it's so much else that goes into how people see sex, because is it just an operative thing, or is it truly like an intimate connection? Because it could just be the release of endorphins that you need to let go, and not really thinking of the connection.
True.
And I think that's when people probably either have multiple partners or do it just to get it over with. Like, okay, let me just do this real quick. You're not really mentally into it, but if you get mentally into it, it don't have to be a weapon.
I see what you're saying.
It could be a fun weapon.
So April says, I don't consider it immature to hold back when there are unresolved issues, not the petty stuff. True. But if you're holding back only because there's issues and you're using it as a punishment to make the person, work with you on these issues, then that's where it gets unhealthy. If you're punishing the person by not giving them sex, that's unhealthy.
And that can backfire too, because it just does, and it just will. Like, there's more to life than just sex. Sex is great, don't get me wrong, but when it comes down to it, a man is about what's at the table, what are you bringing? Like, are you handling your business? Are you taking care of what you need to, work, yourself, whether you have kids or not? That's not even the issue. Do you have healthy relationships with your siblings, or your mother and father, or your cousins? Do you hang around your family? Do you have friends? Do you have other hobbies? Like, it's so many little pieces that make that whole thing work.
Yeah, you're right. And there is one school of thought that believes that people who operate in this way have some type of emotional abuse in their history, either emotional abuse or mental abuse in their history.
Right. Gotcha. I can see that. I think for me, if I'm gonna shut something down, I never I have not ever used it as a weapon. Sex. I'll shut down the kitchen.
You said that a couple weeks
the
ago
physical
too.
kitchen, like the real kitchen.
Right. Because it could be grocery
so when I say
kitchen.
No. When I say kitchen, I mean I only wash my dish.
Okay.
I only cook for me and my kids, or I eat when I'm out. Like, I mean the actual kitchen.
Okay.
I don't go grocery shopping. I'm a resource person.
Right, but the thing about we had to clarify, because a lot of people use groceries as another terminology.
Yeah. Right. True. I mean the actual kitchen with dishes and stuff like that. But I only had to shut down the kitchen, the real kitchen, once during the dating process. I never had to shut down the kitchen again. You live and you learn.
I got it. No, April, you're right. There's no obligation of sex in a marriage or monogamous relationship. True. I agree with that. You're not obligated. I think some men would disagree with that.
Right.
But why take
about based on a couple weeks ago conversation?
Yeah, which is why there had to be a law put in place that a man can rape his wife.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That was not,
and that's only in certain cultures, because in some cultures, rape is directly permitted, and then you want to hold somebody accountable. But one, they're marrying people who are way younger than them, and then two, it's just wrong.
But you're not obligated. You shouldn't. It shouldn't feel like an obligation.
Well, I have a question. Well, what about the people who only get married for sex? Because they don't believe in having sex outside of marriage.
But that's not a true and full relationship if that's the only reason you got married.
It's not the only, but one of the main reasons. They love that they like and love the person, but I'm just saying. I've seen that. So I'd
like to know how long those marriages last.
Right.
I would say
But
on the average, I've seen the average at least 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
but some if people don't come with content, like things that
Hmm.
makes them an individual, makes them together work well together, um things that they do separate, like you have to be a full person that's confidently walking in your space of sexiness, confidence, whatever.
Right.
um I think that's where the relationship can be like full and fulfilled. But when you're just like going on trinkets, because if you just get married for sex, that's a trinket. That's something that you could get like
Anywhere.
anywhere, walking up and down the street. So it's like, um, you really have no value for what that whole connection really means. It's a trinket to you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when people are on their professional focus, they're like, okay, well, what's the content? Like, don't text me with the WYD. Don't text me with,
Right.
text me with planning or call me with a plan, and we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna see each other when that time comes. But like, don't call me with the empty stuff because I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, sex starts outside of the bedroom or out, wherever the room is that you're going to to get it in. And I don't want to limit people just to the bedroom.
Bedroom. Right.
Right. But you have to like really just be mindful around the other things that play a part, and having those empty arguments or those unresolved issues that you know you trying to lump into sex. Like, you could be mad at each other and still have your intimacy moment, and then hopefully you come back to resolving whatever's going
Right.
on. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
should, like, it's like behavior modification. Not that we want to go therapy and
Right.
intervention wise, but it shouldn't be a trinket that's like an incentive. Like, it should be something that just comes natural because humanly our body craves that connection with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it's still? So do you think it's still used as a weapon if sex is used as an incentive? Like you have to
If
work for it?
it's an incentive, that's a weapon. You weaponizing sex.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as the relationship sexologist person.
Mhm. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people would. A lot of people I know incentivize sex
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like if you pay all these bills, then we can
Mm-hmm.
talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then what are you doing to help pay the bills? Like, did you
Right? I
go
was gonna
out
say
and
I
buy
get
like
this,
5,000 purses and shoes and then talk about, oh, well, the electric bill is due?
dude. Yeah.
Trip, you can either take some of them shoes and bags back so we can pay the bill.
Right. And I hear a lot of girlfriend conversations. They be like, "Girl, he thought he was getting something, but that what happened in the night. He didn't come back
Mm-hmm.
with the bag I wanted." Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he put food in the
That's
refrigerator.
superficial.
Yeah, the house is clean, but it take more than that, child. But you on the phone yapping it up with a girlfriend, and you ain't doing nothing. Just an
Right,
example.
Mm-hmm.
right.
It doesn't add up.
So, Camp, you said you was looking forward to this type of conversation for a while. What are some of the things that you think people should talk about that they're not talking about, like when it comes to just dealing with their intimacy and so forth?
I think a lot of women when they put their husbands on the couch, why is he on the couch? Why the couch?
Mm-hmm.
That and my thing is, if it's a punishment for him, why can't you be on the couch some night? I've
Mm-hmm.
always wondered that,
Mm-hmm.
and I also think about who taught you to use it as a punishment. Like, even if they didn't teach you in terms of telling you, but if you saw it, or
Mm-hmm.
outside of the movies, because I've even seen this in my own life as a child,
Mm-hmm.
or between a husband and wife, or between a committed couple or partners. Like, what? How did you feel after the fact? What thrill or rise did you get? Like, what? What does it do for you to have your mate on the couch?
Mm.
Like who taught you that? How did you see that? How did you internalize that? I've always thought about that.
I
And
think that's an awesome question. Like, who taught you that? Because our sexual narratives or our narrative, our how we think and view the role of sex is supposed to be in a relationship is so important, in regards to how it is that we operate in life, because everything everything that we do is driven by that adrenaline of sex.
Right.
What's that look, Dr. Krista?
Yeah, she has a focused look.
Yes.
She's like I'm thinking about something. I'm gonna say it. Also, I have this thing about thread count sheets, which Mary mentioned earlier. Like you're complaining, you putting somebody on the couch. I've always thought, well, the couch may be comfortable if you only got 100 count thread sheets. Like you can't. Like I've always. I mean, that sounds crazy, but that's the that kind of determines what kind of intimacy you have too. So you can get. It's not about affordability. You have what you have because that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you need, and then you can get what you want, or vice versa. People are different, but you know, I feel like in my head there's only so much complaining you could be doing. Like, what are you doing if you want, instead of using sex as a weapon, if you want certain things to be done? How is the atmosphere? How is the energy in the room? Are the sheets washed? Your pillows kind of neat? Is the floor clean? Do you have socks everywhere?
Wow.
I mean, you wanting something from this person, but sometimes you gotta like set it up. Not set it up and go all romantic, but just do the basics like cleanliness, like dust, something. Like
And men are visual people.
Right.
Like all that you're saying, people take that for granted. They be like, well, I've been running around all week. I've been taking care of the kids. Or if there's no kids, you just been running around all week. And you're not thinking about the visual. Like when people say visual, they think of just, okay, well, you take a shower, you don't put the bonnet on, and you wear something nice to sleep. That's a part of it. But before we even get to that, like you just said, do you have socks all over the place, stuff all stacked up? Like the room don't have the ambience that is going to make me say, "Come on, let's do what we got to do. Let's work this out."
Why have you been clipping toenails on the bed and they've been cutting and they haven't go? I'm just saying you haven't cleaned it up. Or this is just things I see some of this on TV too, where it was a couple that were married. They had great intimacy in the first 5 years of the marriage. And they showed a picture of how she looked and he looked at the beginning. They were happy, but how she got content and just did whatever. And he got ran down the ground because he wasn't. His needs weren't being met, like in terms of conversation, emotionally, physically. It's not because she couldn't meet them, but she would rather watch soap operas and eat chips and let the crumbs fall and go everywhere. It was like a TV show I saw versus, and she would look at him and be like, "What?" And he's like, "Never mind."
Yeah, because in the bed is a problem. Like it's a bigger problem than just the whole intimacy part.
True, but I'm just saying it was like he wasn't expecting her to be like skinny she was when they first met. He loved her the way she was. He just wished that what he saw in her, she saw in him. So the intimacy and the sex could happen, other stuff. But yeah, it just wasn't that one thing, but it just gave you a glimpse of like, oh wow.
Yeah. And I've seen that happen because of other issues in the relationship where one of the partners will let themselves go intentionally to keep the other person off of them.
I've seen that too.
Yeah.
And you know where that comes from? That comes also, I'm sorry, I know you know this, Doc, but that comes also from if there's been abuse in someone's childhood and they were trying to keep the abuser away from them. They say, okay, let me make myself unattractive. So that goes to the question we said, where did you learn all of these negotiation situations around sex? And if you had a violation as a child, you say, yep, I'm not taking a shower. I'm not going to do my hair. I'm not going to look anything that is attractive because it welcomed unwelcome advances. So if you haven't resolved that issue and then you get into your committed relationship as an adult, you're going to act that stuff all the way out again.
Yes.
And I also see how sex has been used as a weapon when you're like wanting somebody to fully commit. You'd be on either side, and one is like, well, if you keep giving like a children's mobile that goes above the crib. Or like a puppet master, it dangles. Like one side could be looking for time and attention. but they only make themselves available as you give them the sex. But once you start like drawing back, not even withdrawing back, but asking for it to be reciprocated or just balanced, that's
Right.
50, but just on more of a balance level.
Right.
Um, that's when like the other person who's like, I want the sex, they stop calling, and the other person is just like blowing their phone up. The other person is being stalkerish in the car, like who you with, what you doing, showing up at the job. Like I seen that play out on the workplace. I'm like, what happened? He's
Right.
not answering my phone calls. I just did this. I gave him this.
Right.
So that also
Which
comes
is
with
why you gotta be careful with who you sleep with too. A lot of people aren't as diligent or as do as much recon on who they sleep with as they is with finding a bank. You know,
Right.
you don't know who you sleeping with. A lot of times people you don't
And
even
remember
get
a few weeks back
the
when
right
we had
information.
And remember a few weeks back when Jardine was in here in our conversation, and she was saying, as a millennial, you don't get 2-3 dates a week. I think
you
Cam, you
don't.
had said something like
I'm
7 or 8 dates
I'm an
to know
older
the person.
millennial.
Huh?
You don't get that. I'm an older millennial, and you don't get that.
Right. I mean, like, so imagine like where do they get the basis before they end up giving a part of themselves to their partner?
Yes. So some people I feel maybe feel pressured or feel coerced to do that too soon because they're like, if I don't do this very soon, the person is like not going to be here. They're not going to be a part of my life, and I'll do anything to keep the person, even if it means giving all of me, every physical part of me. Like,
And that's so funny because that doesn't guarantee that they're gonna be there.
Not at all.
right,
Not at
but
all.
that's what people think.
But that's you're right.
And you
That's
know why they think that? They think that because our TV shows, our media, everything else suggests opposite. However, that's not the reality of what life really is. Like you're not, it's no trinket, sex included, that's gonna keep somebody just because you was hanging from the chandelier and they'd be like, okay, well, yeah, I hung from the chandelier with this person, but it's other things like the room wasn't right, or they don't know how to talk to me, or so many other things that's connected to why it
or
becomes
they
a weapon.
don't really want you.
Not at all.
I always think about Michael Jackson, Billie Jean.
Yeah,
You know how
they
people
don't really
think
want
about a
you.
Billie
like
Jean.
when I think about a BJ, I think about a Billie Jean. That kid is not whoa. That kid is not mine. What?
And they'll
Right.
take the
Am I?
sex, but
Right.
I always tell the teenagers, I say, it is a satisfaction. How can I say this? PG-13. It's satisfaction with lubrication. But
Oh
once
wow.
that is done, they have no use for you because that immediate gratification that they were seeking is done. And so now you're sitting there like, oh, I think he likes me, and I'm blowing up his text message or his DM, and he's not responding. He got what he wanted, or she got what he wanted. So let's not even be
Right.
slanted.
yeah, it's
Right.
not just
No.
guys.
Yeah, it's
Not
not.
guys, it's chicks too. And we used to call that we used to call that another BJ. You just a Joe Blow. That's what ended up happening. The Joe Blue.
Another notch on the bedpost.
Yes. So somebody be like, Joe Blow? Oh, he Joe blowed you or she blowed, like what we saying.
I wonder what they call it now.
I don't know.
But it definitely isn't just men.
Right, it's
No.
both. I had when I was like 18 or 19, I used to have conversations like with older adults in my family. I said I had this thought like a hierarchy in terms of what like sex is used for. I used to be like, you either there to get your rocks off, like for fun, either there just release your endorphins and stuff you need to get off your back, or either it's just was simply sex, not good, not bad, not indifferent. It just was something, or
Right.
then highest, or is there for like intimacy, a real connection, lifelong connection, or just for a season, however that period lasts.
Right.
So that's how I thought about it when I was younger, and I still do, like to some degree.
Okay. So Jaja said a man might not be sexually attracted to you, to a woman, and he gets characterized and given names, but it's just like he's not attracted to you. And you might have slip, tripped, and fell into a moment or a situation, but
Right.
that's not going to create the attraction. That's just going to be like the adrenaline rush was met.
That's it. That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to be, like Mary said, it doesn't start when you get into the bedroom or the kitchen table, whatever, wherever you're doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't start there.
Chandelier.
You know, yeah, or the chandelier. Good sex starts with good communication.
Good conversation, communication. Okay.
Yes, that's where it starts.
Yep.
And you know what? I know that there will be some people that beg to differ, and they'll be like, "Look, I had a one night stand, and it was wonderful."
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Or that I had a one night stand and we got married, and it's like, okay, you are one drop into the punch. You know,
Right.
everybody else doesn't have that same reaction or opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Somebody put okay. I think you read that, Mary. I
What's
saw one of
that?
the comments about the when a guy's not attracted, sexually attracted to a woman, he gets characterized.
Yeah.
And you know what, that he makes a good point too, because that is true. If a girl or a woman throws it at a man and he doesn't take it, he all kinds of punks and
True.
you know
He don't like women.
Right.
Yes, so he makes a good point.
Or I hear Chick say he wasn't cute anyway.
Women can't believe that a man is just not going to take it or is not sexually attracted to them. But there are some men who won't sleep with someone they're not attracted to.
True.
Yeah, not every man takes whatever's thrown at him.
And then, a lot of times people will say that women have total control over the situation. And for the most part, they do. And they've made the decision when and if it's going to occur. But it's so many, I'm going to use the word stereotypes since Jaja put that in there. It's so many stereotypes in regards to if, in fact, it does actually happen. Here's another guy. Sex is a weapon.
DJ Spin Cycle.
Right? A woman that can Kegel 128 times a minute. You know what?
Ooh, that's a good comment, though. Makes you think.
It does. It definitely does. Okay.
I know some people have decided not to just deal with
thank you, DJ Spin Cycle.
The opposite sex in general. So what they do is go get the it's not latex, it's some like different material like vinyl or the parts of a woman or the parts of a man and just go at it. And they just don't have time for the drama.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Spin Cycle is going in.
Yes.
And I appreciate that comment because that definitely is a different perspective that we need in this conversation because, especially, women who are seasoned or, well known about how Kegeling can help their muscles. He like, my dick won't let me. Okay.
Don't forget about restorative yoga.
What happened?
I said don't forget about restorative yoga.
There's so many things. There's so many things. But people have to be into restoring their mind so that they can have that perspective that, is more than just one thing than sex. Sex is like the outcome and the finished product to a degree. I mean, hopefully you have a relationship and all that stuff after it. So don't hear me not say that. But like, it's so much foreplay that goes into the foreplay. And Spin Cycle, we keep it real. So we glad for your realness. Like that's what the conversation is for. We need spaces to have these real dialogues. And tonight we're like talking about have you, will you, and do you use sex as a weapon? Camp, you was about to say something?
Every time you ask the question, I just think it's I don't want to say silly. Different folks for different strokes for different perspectives.
You have a privilege that you have to recognize in this conversation, though, too.
And what's the privilege?
Married.
Okay. But I know a lot of married single people.
Absolutely.
So being
Uh-huh.
married,
Yes.
being married is
Yes.
not the caveat.
Absolutely.
Maybe for some people, but
Absolutely.
that's a privilege. Yes, I acknowledge that privilege.
Right.
However, at the same time, at the same token, it just depends on the situation. Like you can people on the outside looking in, some people be like, "Oh, you have the best marriage," and but you just never know.
And I
I
think
mean,
it
Mhm.
you
comes
get
with,
married,
even
and I'm just
outside of the
saying.
privilege part of it too, I think it comes
Hmm.
with maturity and how
Okay.
people
Mhm.
respect their body and their mind and everything like that. So it's like,
Mhm.
you could push the envelope. So yeah, it is a level of privilege and understanding, but on the same time of that, I think it comes with maturity because you don't have to be in a married, committed relationship to know how you love and respect yourself.
Right.
True.
But I
True.
did have a question. Like, if you're just in a sexual relationship, couldn't that if you're just in a sexual relationship,
Mhm.
is sex still
So the
used?
friends
Can
with
be used?
benefits or the married that
Just
y'all not
it's
really
just
married.
y'all not. Let's just say y'all just single and you just making it happen for each other, but there's
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
nothing else but just that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then at that point, is sex still being could be used as a weapon? I think it could be, but you just I don't see
I
nothing
don't
wrong
think
with two single people saying this is what we're gonna do and just have a sexual relationship. If they don't,
yeah.
so
But
yeah,
I
it
gotta get
can
this
still
out
be
of
used
my
as a
right.
weapon when you're hey right when you're
I see what the Penn
using
State
it as
kids
a tool to get someone to do what you want them to do.
true.
got.
So even if you're in like a friends with benefits, or you know we just get together when we can, if for some reason you want something else out of that person and they call you on the humbug like, hey, what's up for tonight, and you're like, bring me such and such, and they say they
Okay,
can't do it, you're like, all right, I'm not trying to see you tonight, then yeah, now you've weaponized it.
you have.
Right, right. Or that they say, well, we got to do X, Y, and Z, and can you come at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? Are you getting up out your house and going to somebody else's house at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? Like, where they do that at?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anytime it becomes a way to control someone else,
Mm-hmm.
then you're using it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can lead to
And sometimes it's a control of the person who's weaponizing it to only have the relationship go a certain way.
oh,
So, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not really ready to commit, but yet I wanted to satisfy my needs. So I'm going to
right.
weaponize it to my benefit only. Okay,
I've
now
seen that.
DJ Spin Cycle done went in again. This is like a whole dissertation. Let me see.
Yes, it says it's a console. I got lyrics too. He said, I start building the elements in the woman's head before I deposit my stuff in her.
Mhm.
So Dr. Chris is correct. People need to use words. Most don't have them, but dig this. When you use them, you can make people have multiple orgasms. Now, with the physical sex tech, knowing how to make teardrop circles at the base of one's spine after one has made some climax can extend the experience, especially if you can separate the ejaculation from the orgasm. Oh, okay.
Okay, DJ.
Okay,
All right.
rocket science.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Okay.
Oh wait, he continued it. He continued it, Cam.
Oh, my sex a motivated person to accommodate me. Control is good if you're motivating them to do their best to inspire them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Somebody say use it. Well, Jaja said using sex as a weapon is a great topic. I need y'all to do this workshop. Oh,
Well, trust.
and the other comment,
You see the eyes from Mrs.
Ray,
Hunter.
he said, "Oh, I was gonna read that. If you want that diamond or Fendi bag, sex is the weapon."
Mm.
And that's, you know what? And why, Ray? Like, why we gotta do all of
Right.
that just to get the
Right.
diamond and the Fendi bag?
Yeah.
Like we work, we can go buy our own bag.
Right.
I mean, which could be on both sides of the coin too. That I don't need you because I can go get my own bag. But we shouldn't know. We should just get what we need to get. And I don't know. That's a double-edged sword. Like, get your own bag.
Right.
Get
Mhm.
Get your own bag. Cook dinner.
Oh, Sense Cycle said
Playing
sex
getaways.
he said sex treats, if you will.
Listen, she said because she don't want to spend her money. Okay. All right. But you know that you got the resources to get it. You just adding that additional trinket into, okay, this is gonna make my mind open up to have that chandelier hanging situation.
And what happens when you do all that and you hold off, then you give it to him because you got the bag and it's trash? Then what?
Right.
Okay, so
and you got the bag.
Right, you got the bag.
You got the bag, but is it trash because your mind wasn't truly into it? Because it could be trash because your mind wasn't truly stimulated to be present.
No, it's trash because he can't. He can't fulfill your needs.
But you know what?
It's that cup she got.
I think, okay, so this is.
Look, I'm gonna give you a cheers on that one, Doc.
I feel like sometimes if you not limit yourself, but you kind of know somebody got it and can get it. It's like that twinkle in the eye. You just never seen somebody.
No, the twinkle don't mean that they know how to do the motion.
True. But I'm saying I think I have this gift for like discernment. So
you got sex discernment.
I've had discernment. Period.
I just want to know. I know it's a discernment, but you got sex discernment.
She got radar.
Yeah, I will say I have a radar, but I feel like somebody was like, "Girl, why you?" So when I was just, I was like, "Girl, why you didn't do it?" I said, "Nah." I said, "If that didn't happen, I couldn't get rid of them." So sometimes you you can feel it. I say feel it in your bones. That's for me. That's my saying. I'm country, so you feel it in your bones, the twinkle in the eye. You be like, oof. You just feel something radiate, but you was like, can't go there. That's the type of thing. I'm not trying to be committed, so let me just step away. So let me not do it and step away.
I'm still stuck on you saying sex discernment, though.
I've heard people say that they know by a kiss. If the person can kiss and turn them on, and they know that it's going to be a good experience.
And I've heard people say that they could tell from the walk, the way that the man walks and carries himself, that you could tell what it's hitting for.
All you can tell is that somebody told them they got a good shot. That's all you can tell. And that girl might have been lying.
Because she don't know what a good shot is. Because when you think about sex is only as good as you're mentally stimulated. Exactly. So it's like everybody's stimulation is different.
It's only as good as what you know.
I think sometimes people end up being good kissers because that's a result of the other thing not being good. So you got to be good at something. So the kissing sets you up to be thinking, "Oh, this is great," but the backdrop of not the other thing not being all the way right sometimes. So I feel like kissing is too personal anyway. So I just think that if you're talking about a good kisser, you're definitely a good kisser because you got to have another skill outside the other one.
Okay.
If you can't get that, you got the other one. So something has to keep you.
So what's the other one? Is the other one a peach in the groceries?
Yeah, if you don't have good. A lot of times, if you don't have
I'm just trying to use the PG words. The peach in the groceries.
Good peach or groceries, then.
And then you got to have.
That's why you look at good kissers. No, excellent kissers. They'll pull you in, but then you go all the way. You be like, oh. That's not what I thought. That's why they kiss so well.
Right.
Sometimes you got to think about that. That's why the radar is good.
Somebody said, Kim, how you turn that on and off?
Yes.
Turn what on and off?
The discernment, the sex discernment and the radar.
So I have to, like, you talk about being the right thinking. When I'm like, I equate certain phrases into a song. So if somebody passed by and I start thinking about a certain song, I just be like, keep walking. Somebody else foolishness. Like they could be peach and groceries could be great and all that, but the other not be. It just depends on what you need and want as a person when it comes to sex. Or
April said this conversation is for mature audiences only.
Oh, it's just
you're right.
My gift, my discernment. I do like I could be talking to somebody and somebody walk by. Not that I like them or anything, want to be with them. I don't. But sometimes the twinkle catch my eye because somebody, you know how you look up and you can feel somebody looking at you,
Mhm.
and there's a
Mm.
woo
I know what you're saying. I mean, you're right. There is a confidence
yeah.
that you see in a man sometimes that make you think, oh yeah, he could probably put it down.
You just know
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Just
There's
know,
a confidence.
and not even know the person.
Yeah,
True,
I
and
know.
never had any conversation with him either. You just like,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
like I see your presence in the room.
Uh-huh. I know what you said. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. And I think that's the same for women too. You know, when you exude that confidence where
Mhm.
you walk into a room and everybody like, even the women like, damn, she's sexy.
Mhm.
You
And it can
know?
really just be a compliment. It don't mean
Yes,
she's
just a
sexy and I'm
compliment.
trying to go
Yeah,
there. It could be
yeah.
a straight up just compliment. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
admiring what it is that you bring into the world. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was traveling somewhere and was getting my stuff out of the car at the hotel, and the guy was like, your husband must be tremendously like appreciative of you. And I was like, oh yes, well let me know who he is when you find him. Cause yes, he must be. But I just took it as a compliment and just kept moving.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Oh, so Jaja said,
I
what's the
saw it.
definition? Okay.
What's the definition
Oh.
of putting it down? You
Mm.
know what I'm going to say about that is it, it is an individual experience. You know,
True.
my idea of putting it down might be different than Mary's or Camp's. I think it's an individual experience. It's all about you feeling really good about the the experience and getting out of it what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the way I feel like putting it down, different. It has to be better than a bucket of Popeye's chicken and Dr. Pepper and blueberry ice cream. So if you can hit that and over, oh yeah. Like
Yeah, and for
I
some
don't know.
people,
I'm very
putting it
sensual, or
for some
yeah,
people it's about, putting it down is about having two, three, four orgasms. For
yeah,
somebody else, it might be
I feel
just the
like that's too
one.
much work.
Yeah, so it's really an individual experience.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what it is you trying to get out of it.
and if
I
you
would
put
be
it down,
interested in what Spin Cycle thinks is putting it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spin
Well,
Cycle.
no, I think he done told us.
I think he did,
he did
but
say
I'm
it
like, maybe
earlier.
he got another way to say it.
The circle going on. I just like to think of having a blessed move. Whatever your blessed move is, when you
Right,
put
right,
it
right.
down, that's how you put it down. But
Okay.
it's
Hmm.
each its
Okay.
own.
Right, right,
Hmm.
right.
I know
Right.
Right.
I had a blessed move, and yeah, people be like, "What?" Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm. So yes, it is very subjective because
yeah,
everybody's experience, everybody's openness when it comes to
Mhm.
intimacy and their sex situation, um, is definitely different. And what the person that you're trying to be intimate with, what they stimulate in you, because you
mm,
might be like with one person you dealt with, you could have dealt with that person forever, and then now you move on to somebody different, and you like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like I never, experienced this type of mental stimulation. Remember, like
Mhm.
the whole thing is before you even get to the place of action.
yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
You have to have a
That's
mental
right.
thing,
Yeah, you gotta fuel my whole sexual situation like all the way
Mhm.
around.
a mental
Mhm.
bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and that really comes with taking the time to get to know someone.
Right.
It
Communication.
really does. Communication, getting
Go
Well,
to
right
how?
know
back to
them,
communication.
So
and
what's
it
that
also
time
takes
limit?
knowing yourself.
How
I've
about
said,
that? Let's
I've
start
said,
there. It takes knowing yourself and your own sensuality, your
Right.
mhm,
own ways that you want
mhm,
to, what you give permission and consent to and what you don't.
mhm,
And
True.
all of that comes with you first. Like
yes,
it really, really does. And if you don't know you or some interruption has happened, within your life, that causes you to have a different narrative of it, you got to explore that. Oh, he gave his definition.
Putting it down
Okay.
means me in my best performance with my talent and skill set. For some, they
Yes.
might include toys, vibrators, spreader bars, and the like. For others, I only need to use my deep voice and saying all the necessary commanding and nasty talk. When he said the nasty talk, I thought about, this might sound weird. I had Barry White's voice telling me listen, even though it doesn't equate. That's what I
Right.
had in my head. I'm just saying.
So yes,
Yes,
we are still
April.
talking about
Yes,
weaponizing sex
April. We
because
are. We
we
got
talking
off on
about.
a tangent, April, but yeah, we are still talking about using sex as a weapon.
But I
We
think
got
even the
on.
tangent is talking about how different ways that people weaponize it
Yep.
for positive, as well as some of what the challenges can be.
And that's
But
true. You know, even if, you know, bringing it back full circle, if you're somebody that's adventurous and you're doing this and we swinging from the chandeliers and you bringing out the toys, but you mad at me and now we missionary for 10 minutes. That's
That's a
interrupt the
foul.
flow.
that's
That's a
using it
foul.
as a weapon.
Mhm.
Yes.
That is, because you
And
know that's not you.
Right.
That's what you're bringing.
And that ain't what you really want to be at right now.
Right.
You really want to hang from the chandelier and be totally mind open to whatever the experience is.
So yeah,
So be body marks
there
on the
are
wall.
many ways that you can weaponize it. Again, anytime you use it to punish someone else, you're weaponizing. So if you're doing that to me because you're mad or I didn't do something you wanted me to do, then yeah, you're punishing me because yeah, I want to do all those things, but we're not going to do them because you mad.
Right.
Yeah, that's whack.
Like, you mad though? I mean, it's, and somebody
sorry.
might even
I
say
see
to you
you.
like you mad though? Like, you really mad? And they, you know, might be grooming you for a different position or something like that. And they be like, you really mad though? And it's like, how do you navigate that? That becomes that negotiation, which are you manipulating the process?
So are you saying you one partner can be manipulating the process of the sexual journey to
Of
what
the
the other
sexual
person
journey?
is willing or not willing to do? So that's where it becomes a negotiation.
Definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
I get you.
And then yes, Ray, it can be weaponized and can be both negative and positive because it depends on that person's how they understand sex to be in their relationship and how they actually want it to be from their mind, body, and spirit. Probably some other things too, but that was my quick response. I don't know, Doc might have a different response.
Grooming and negotiating. That's
No,
what
it's right. I mean, I agree. It can be negative and positive. Can be.
And we did say it earlier. I don't even remember what we said specifically, but like we were saying, it shouldn't be like a token economy, like a behavior mind. I know, Ray, you understand that. Like, it shouldn't be like that. It should be really just communication and kind of seeing what does your partner enjoy and what do you enjoy and what do y'all consensually agree that's going to be a part of your relationship, because your communication, remember, don't have empty arguments. So the empty argument would be, you ain't cook dinner, you ain't take the trash out, you ain't do the dishes. That ain't the real argument. I mean, it might be a concern, but that ain't the real argument. The real argument is, you might have flipped me upside down and I didn't give you consent to do all of that, but can we do that again? You know, or don't do that again.
Ray said, I like tokens.
I knew she would get that.
Like you mentioned earlier, like a behavior modification, and you don't want it to be that, but like a behavior modification in the bedroom.
And she's in the field, so I knew she would get the whole token scenario situation. Yeah. So SSC, safe, sane, and consensual. Definitely. Definitely.
That's right.
And remembering that no is a full and complete sentence, no matter at what point it comes up.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot of men see that as as a punishment, I guess.
Saying no.
saying no, especially when they're past a certain point.
Right.
I'm sorry.
He had the green light and ready to go, and then you talking about
I shouldn't have laughed. That's immature of me.
right. You said it.
Uh-huh.
Definitely rack. Definitely rack. Gotta be. You
Mhm.
just always gotta have consent, and no matter what situation is going on, because everybody is not even open enough for rack. So that, I mean, it is a conversation that Doc and I talked about last week to potentially bring to the forefront at some point.
Mhm.
So you guys got to just stay tuned for what relationship flow is bringing to the table.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
She
He
said,
said
"Tell me,
some of
I
y'all need a
So
need
safe
a safe
word.
word."
The safe word is it comes
No.
in that communication between you and your partner. Like, you guys got to
yes.
decide what that safe word is. So if you don't want to hear the word no, because that just probably tells you something totally else to your mind, love, you got to figure out what the other safe word is.
You used to have a phrase.
Mhm.
That's just a word.
Mhm.
Just
It could
a
be
regular
pineapples. It ain't got to be a
Yeah.
phrase. That's too much work. It could just
word.
be,
You said
don't,
pineapples.
you could say pineapples. You could say apple pie, like something. And that partner would know, okay, well, damn, they said apple pie. Or they said, no, I'm
What
not
about
going to say
women
that.
not wanting to compromise?
Mm.
See, so if a woman or a partner, because I'm not going to just put that on women, if a partner doesn't want to compromise, it's another situation that has to be resolved.
Mhm.
Because
Deep.
it's something that's blocking their willingness to just have an open mind. So you got to figure out what is the barrier. Is it something that's happened in you all's relationship? Is it something that happened when they weren't at home that
Mhm.
they don't
Mm,
feel safe to talk about? Like, could have been at work or a friend relationship or something like that. Or is
Or
it
it could,
something in their past?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
baggage.
yes.
Yeah, bag it. And if you got that unresolved loss, you be thinking that you done tucked it in some suitcase that don't even exist in your house, and it
Mhm.
be a TV show or a word or something that somebody
Mhm.
said that take you automatically back, and then now your whole intimate mind frame has been interrupted.
It be right in
Mhm.
the counter.
Yeah,
Mhm. Very true. Very true. Yes.
yeah. He said, "I'm down for the petty." If you down for the petty, you would have loved last week's conversation, and I'm sure Mr. Our King Petty will be back to the panel at some point.
Yes.
Because he is definitely on the team petty. Like, I'm just not falling for whatever.
Oh, dang! I miss Chad's message. He wanted the link, Mary.
Oh, see, look.
Give me a sec.
All right. That's team petty right there. If he coming in, that is team petty. So we got, if there is a block, handwrite her a letter. We talked about writing letters last week as well. That way she isn't pressured to respond yes in a live verbal discourse.
Mm,
Sometimes people can't have these real talk, mature conversations in
face to
real
face.
life.
Yeah.
And you can introduce it in so many different ways. Like, you can make a couples or a partner coupon book that maybe introduces some
Ew.
of the things that you're interested in, and then that person can explore it with you at a time that you guys decide that you want to do something different. Like, let's have a date night, let's pick from one of these coupons that we got.
Mhm.
That way you're not catching them off guard, because sometimes when you bring conversations that somebody wasn't totally expecting, and depending on what their day has been filled with, you might really catch them off guard, and they're not ready to be open to that because they just need a minute to kind of grow.
Mm.
Doc, you got Jaja's question?
But you folks are
Oh,
just
that's a good one.
for example, a guy getting home and wanting sex, but would rather settle for a BJ. she doesn't. She doesn't either.
Hmm.
I mean, I really think that that needs a conversation. Like,
Mm-hmm.
babe, I had a hard day. I want to make love to you, and if you're not up for that, can we do this? And you want to find out why. Like, what is going on with her? Like, maybe she had a hard day and she's just too tired, or
Right.
maybe she got a lot on her mind right now, and she's willing to say, all right, give me a couple hours to chill out, and then we could do this. But if you don't bring it up if you don't question it and ask her what's going on, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go off in a huff.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going to get discussed,
Right.
and neither one of you are going to get anything.
Right.
So, I mean, especially if you know that there are no other issues right at that moment in your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If there's other issues in your relationship, then you're going to probably have to wait a little longer, because you're going to need to have some more in-depth conversation. But if y'all
Right.
good and you come home and you want sex and she's not up for it, and then you say, all right, well, give me a BJ, and she's like, nah, I'm not up for that either, that's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What happened today, babe? What's going on with you? That's it. That's
Simple.
a conversation.
Right.
And that alone will make your woman think, he really cares about me. He understands that, sometimes I got other stuff going on. That'll make you even more sexy to her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He said thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But it's always a conversation to be had, because if
Oh,
you
that was
have a
Team
if
Petty.
you
That's right in saying that he's having connection issues.
if you have an active, fulfilling sex life, and then it starts to fall off, there's something going on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Something going on that like is a stressor. It could be financial. It could be something with kids. It could be something with family, work, her own medical situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It's so many things that interrupt how it is that we relate to each other. Excuse me. How we relate to
Mm-hmm.
each other.
For sure. So yeah, Jaja, conversation is vital. It gives you the information,
Right.
and then you can work from there. Like, if all she needed is an hour nap, then you could go ahead and do the things that you
And
want to do with her.
right. Because sometimes you just need that nap to separate from the day or just to kind of refuel. You trying to tap into my energy, and my energy is not at 100%. You're not gonna get 100%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
And
a
if you
different
keep
consent.
pushing, you're gonna keep getting a no,
Right.
as
And you're gonna
opposed
be
to
I'm sorry, you're gonna get frustrated. Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was gonna say, as opposed to taking a step back and asking her what's wrong.
Right.
You know, because the no, if you keep getting a no, then now you feel some kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas you could have talked to her and found out what was going on, and got a maybe later, as opposed to a no.
Right.
Right. Right. Right. Right. So the women withhold respect because she isn't feeling loved, and your arguments over dishes and the like is really about love and respect.
That's a good one.
Truth. Truth.
Yes, yes,
That's definitely true. But
yes.
it's just like that's why it's funny when couples come into a session and they're trying to figure out couples come into a session and they're trying to figure out like what's happening in their relationship and why sex has been withdrawn from it or something like that. You don't think about the small communication parts that really play a large part in how it is that you interact. And that that it's so much. It's not just the act, the exercise, the intimacy, all of that comes into the outcome of this moment. This moment is built up over time. It's built up over time.
Connected to, for example,
And
some
and
people
men go
connect
to
sex to doing things.
wait, say that again, because you always changing your location.
I said, well, for some people, isn't like around the house connected to sex or sex?
You breaking up
You breaking up. Something about something around the house and connected
and
to sex.
sex. Yeah. We didn't
So
hear any of the words in between.
right. And I'm gonna comment on
Okay,
what April wrote real
okay.
quick before while you get your signal thing. Men forget that women go through hormonal changes, but men do too. And it's like, but sometimes you don't want to have that victim role in your relationship or how it is that you feel about your medical stuff in general. But sometimes the medical is really what's getting in the way. You might need you might need to address whatever that medically is happening, because that's the reason why the intimacy is not happening too, or you just don't feel sexy or intimate thinking because of the medical stuff is so heavy in your mind, because society and the little tablet they give you in the prescription thing gives you all the mortality of whatever medical situation is versus you truly knowing how you can live beyond this point if you were to do some interventions. So Camp, you moving again, like you driving now.
Yeah, I have cameras all around. I have cameras all around me.
You wait a minute. You on a reality show or something?
Right. We her
Well,
reality show.
it's just I can become a reality show because my son had a friend date, and yeah, I still have to pick him up. I'm good though. We're all
Okay.
good.
Okay. With your headset on.
I have connections everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did
DJ Spin Cycle is dropping some knowledge. You have to ask. You can ask, like, how can I help you through this? What's going on? And all of that will definitely go into making whatever experiences you have better.
and don't be dismissive. Like
Oh,
when you are talking, especially if it's like medical situations, people are trying to make sure that they're still capable of being loved and loving you. And so if you judge what their medical situation is, or maybe some of their choices that they're making around getting better, like if say they have diabetes and they're still eating foods that's not helping them getting well in that area and it's impacting their intimacy and sexuality, like figure out a softer way to have that conversation. Because if you're gonna keep coming down at me, I'm already stressed that they didn't gave me this new diagnosis. Yeah, I'm not trying to lay next to you, like in addition to all of that.
That's a big one.
And because diabetes, cancer, it's a couple other medical concerns really change your ability to be sexually intimate. And
Right.
so
menopause.
menopause, oh, child, yes.
So you saying there needs to be some type of room for grace and just really to think about the other person, about what they're going through, because some people are dismissive when it comes to that, because they may
And
not
is it
understand it because they haven't been through it themselves until the shoe on the
Right.
foot.
Yes.
Right.
And those conversations are important so that you know that sex is not being used as a weapon. It's you're trying to convey that there's a reason why I can't, or why I don't feel like it.
Or do we need to consider some other ways on doing things while we heal in this particular area?
And some people, even people who have babies, after the fact, sometimes they have a low libido. Or the father can have a low libido if he's tired. He's helping you take care of a baby that won't sleep at night. So there's different many factors that people don't, on both sides, don't really think about.
Yeah, and if I'm always the one that got to get up and watch the baby in the middle of the night, like we about to have a fight. No, when I get back to the bed, we not jumping into nothing. Could you get up and go get the baby?
Right. And some,
Yeah, April
yeah,
said a couple I know lost their marriage to high blood pressure.
Hmm.
high
Yeah,
blood
It's real.
pressure. Wow, that
yeah.
is real.
It's real.
Hmm. Yeah, because it can cause erectile dysfunction.
True.
And if you're not having that conversation with your partner,
Hmm.
like, I want to, but I can't. I'm not punishing you. This is what's going on with me.
Hmm.
Then it helps your partner see what you're going through and takes the negative thoughts away from your partner. Because
Hmm.
a lot of times the partner will go right to, it must be me. He's not
Right.
attracted to me. I
Right.
don't look good to him, or he's seeing somebody else. And a conversation could really stop that from happening.
Right. Right. So I see Fletch has joined us by
Hey,
comment.
Del Rico.
Dorico, you would have loved Spin Cycle. If you look up in the comments, he would have been all in your lane in this conversation. Um, trying to look at what Jaja wrote. It's just, we talk of medical reasons, but it's like so many reasons on why the shutdown happens. And so
Mhm.
then if we go back to saying, how is sex used as a weapon, this is just another, aspect. Like, you want me to perform in a way that my body is not really there for. So how else can we love each other? Like, what could be our new love language while we continue to grow through this medical situation?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and again, you want to have those conversations so that the other person doesn't feel like it's them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
like, so. Yeah, what can we do together so that we're both fulfilled and you're not feeling like I'm punishing you?
I would say I think about just going back to being friends on the basis of your relationship. Like
Mm-hmm.
playing games like dominoes or spades or some like friendly competition or just to get you laughing or just to get you remembering what you were attracted to outside of just the sex.
That's where that coupon book come in.
Right. That could be a good tool
Yeah.
to lead to communication. Or
Mhm.
watching a TV show or a sport or something on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you do have to make room for doing other stuff. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You have to be able to make room for accommodating
Creative.
creatively.
That
Yeah.
sexual discernment that Camp talked about earlier. You gotta be real creative.
Oh, like okay. So earlier I mentioned about being different ways of how you want to use sex as a weapon, whether it's negative or positive. I was like, even if you want to be a mark on the wall, you know how not to be gory or anything, but you know how somebody lays in and you trace them, but like tracing it up on the wall and painting, body painting. There's other
Oh,
ways to that could be fun.
right. Right.
Just different.
Now let me beat you in
That's
dominoes
creative.
or Uno. I mean, like, because that
Things,
it's about the
spacing.
quality time with each other. So be it that you're doing dominoes or you're doing a coupon book or you watching a TV show, that is intimacy. Like, that's just, you simply care about me, whether you like the show or not. You in the same space, you sharing, you could talk about what's happening on the show or whatever. So it's like, work, affection is affection.
Mm-hmm.
Not strip Uno. Okay.
Oh, strip poker.
April said this was for mature audiences only, and we there. Okay, so
Absolutely.
tell me how strip Uno goes and in it using sex as a weapon or not a weapon or a pro and con. Like, please add that in strip Uno.
That's a
It
good
don't
one. I
seem
was
like you're gonna have a whole bunch of rounds of the hand if you stripping every time you lose something.
well, like if you skipping somebody, if you skip the person, they got to take off something, right?
Now look at you making a new. See, that's why you always, when you play Uno, you gotta learn the house rules from the
Right.
gate.
I said, don't get the draw 4 because it's over.
Okay, right. That's 4 items. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whether it's an earring or a shoe or something
How
else.
about I probably would go dressed in layers, like on purpose. Like, oh, we about to play Uno. Let me come dressed in layers.
That's funny.
That's funny, but it's creative. We just said be creative.
Yes, you have to be creative.
Definitely. All you need is the conversation piece. Like they do the fishbowl, and you just write certain words in it, and the words you pull, then you have to have a conversation about it, and it could lead to just like interesting things you didn't know about your partner before.
Right, right. Like you guys both could put questions into the fishbowl. You know that you picking whatever color, say if it's index cards or whatever, and the other person is picking because you know that question is for you. So, yeah.
So back to using sex as a weapon, because you know while we're talking about this, something came to my mind. Okay. I think that some people do it unintentionally.
They do,
because they manipulate.
I think it's not intentional all the time. So what happens if you have a bad argument or you're on opposite sides of an issue and you really don't want to do it? Like how do you come to the point where, all right, we're gonna do this, but we still need to talk about this later.
Right.
How do you do that? I don't feel like it's hard to do.
Okay.
Just like you work every day and you don't want to turn in that proposal, but it's equal to pay. You get the and you know it's equal to your satisfaction. You're gonna be like, let me tuck this in my back pocket. I can bring this up tomorrow because I do gotta, you know how some people say, a scratch or an itch, or I do got something that needs to be done. So let me just do what I gotta do. I'm gonna have some fun. I'm in love. We just had an argument. So like you getting something out of it at the end of the day. It's a transference of actions.
Right.
Okay.
Now, Jaja, we can't give you all the games for free. This is a free real talk situation. You gotta, invest in some either a deep dive session or a retreat workshop that Dr. Carissa and I put on or something like that to get all the fruits and vegetables and the proteins and minerals.
Okay, somebody said, nah, let's talk about it first because it's hard for me to concentrate when I'm pissed off.
That's a good one.
Okay.
But like Erykah Badu said, I can make you put your phone down. Like I can make you put your phone down that we could deal with whatever we dealing with separate from this moment. We about to, again, I'm going back to the chandelier. Like we about to swing from the chandelier for a second because that's the relief I need right now.
But also, you still need to eat. You still need.
Jaja, I'm gonna just say lies and French fries to being a novice, and I know you are cracking up laughing at me saying that because you don't want me to put you on blast. Remember, I know where the bodies is at.
So, but I mean, it's a valid question because some people have a hard time separating. So, how do you tell your partner that I need to process through this anger first and talk to you about this first before we can move on to having sex?
I remember just being newly married, being a newlywed. We've been married 11 years now, but I remember somebody, this might not be a good option, but it wasn't then. I didn't think so. Somebody was just like, pray about it. And I was like, pray about it? What that got to do with anything? But then when I think about it now, I go to my corner and be like, you know what? I'm going to work through this. It's a growing pain. And I really have to like separate the two because I used to couldn't separate the action from the person. It's like you loving somebody, but you don't love what they do.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
So, as a mature person, you gotta extend. I've always had to work on extending the same grace and mercy I would extend to somebody outside my household. I had to do that with my maid.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest lesson I've learned, whether it's sex or whatever, dishes, it doesn't matter. So when I
Yes.
extend that grace and mercy to my mate, my husband, then I truly understand what it's like to be on the other foot
Right.
Mm-hmm.
at times.
Mm-hmm.
So now pray about it. It's kind of for the solution. I just be like, whoo, I do like a nod. Hallelujah. Let's walk.
Okay. Let's get it on.
Right.
I mean, it's not that simple, but it had to be because there's plenty of times where I've been like, man, I got my own money. I could just walk out the door. But it's not.
Mhm.
It's that easy, but it's not that easy if you want your relationship to grow with the intimacy you're looking for.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I also think about again the statement. Like I agree with what you said, but I just want to reframe something that you said. This the statement of go pray about it
Right.
can really mean so much to someone that could be negative,
Mm.
that can also take them somewhere. Like you saying pray about it, like pray about it ain't gonna help me right now, but really that's just like taking yourself out of the situation, taking a step back. Let me think about what did I do to contribute to this situation, what could I do differently, how can I
Mhm.
approach it differently. So I just want to make sure we clarify that, because for some
Right.
people, and I'm just thinking of couples and people who I've dealt with when they've come into a session and they say, okay, so you do biblical counseling. When they say pray about it, it takes me into a different conversation. And I'm like, okay, so let's just reframe what pray could actually look like. Is meditation, is accountability,
Right.
is,
Hmm.
looking at your role in the situation and saying, okay, what could I do differently to move this forward or differently?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't want I also want to make sure that we don't skip over the fact that just because you agree to have sex before the argument is resolved means that the argument is resolved.
Right. 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 It's not.
At all.
Right.
Doesn't mean that at all. Yep.
Right. So there still needs to be some discussion had.
Hmm.
Once we finish what we doing, we still need to talk about the issues.
And maybe not in that moment when we in our moment, but we need to talk about it.
Yes, for sure.
So where else you want to go, ladies, and audience? What else y'all want to talk about in regards to this sex as a weapon, the pros and the cons?
Hmm. I think we've been on here a long time. As fun as it's been.
Right.
But I do think that the takeaway is that using sex as a weapon is never healthy. It's never conducive a to a healthy relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and that there are other alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There are other things that you can do.
Right.
If you're not satisfied in your relationship, that's a conversation.
And it doesn't have to be that you got to end the relationship. You got to
Right.
really,
Right.
you need to work through. You need to work, like you can't just run from every fire. You got to figure out how you're going to resolve conflict, because this same situation is going to come up in your next relationship if you a person that's going to run from one
Mm-hmm.
thing to the next.
Other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. Which means you have to deal with it at some point.
Right.
You can keep putting it
Even if
off if
it's
you want.
uncomfortable, even if it's from you, like if you actually it can acknowledge, independent of going to therapy or whatever resource you use for healing, to see that it's something in childhood or a previous situation that changed your way of looking at stuff. Like you got to take responsibility. Every communication works best with personal accountability and then
Mm-hmm.
shared accountability.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
I definitely agree.
Mm-hmm.
How you say that last word, spin cycle?
I see it.
I don't know what the question is because I don't know that last word. Oh, so addiction to sex versus compromise. That could be a conversation for another week.
That's a big
Yes.
one.
That
Mhm.
is a good one. Wow.
I don't know. Maybe I thought about a
Oh
conversation. I don't know if this
God.
is relatable, but I don't know. I just was thinking in my head like sex responsibilities.
Mm.
Goes along
Mm.
again with communication and conversation, but who's responsible for what in terms of like um what's the word I'm looking
Said
for?
highlight the word, then Google it. Next,
The approach of sex.
Mm.
right,
Okay.
right. I thought it
Don't
was
give.
one of your own words, spin cycle. So that's why I thought you would
Mhm.
be able to help me out.
Right. Someone said, don't be mad at me and then give me wax sex as a way to satisfy my frustration.
Oh,
You could have kept that nut to yourself.
Mm-mm-mm.
okay.
So like the responsibility and accountability, like in the relationship, is beyond the actual act of sexual contact. It's
Yes.
being
Yes.
responsible and accountable to what it is that he didn't Google the whole thing. It it's what you put into the relationship and not holding
Mhm.
people on this high pedestal or whatever, but making sure that they understand what your love language is and what it is
Mhm.
that you need when you come in or how it is they check on you throughout the day, and not having those empty arguments of the dishes and the trash and you didn't put the laundry away or something like that. Like
Mhm.
just being
Mhm.
personally responsible to your emotions, but then not
Mhm.
projecting negative energy into something that you guys can really just talk through and work through and grow together.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
That's good.
Yes. And not throwing sex into the mix as a way of getting what you want or punishing your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to comment on face the user who says that, don't be mad at me and give me wax sex, because that is another way of using it as a
Control.
weapon. So I'm gonna
Right.
do it, but it's gonna be, it's
Whack.
not gonna be good. I'm gonna
Right.
do it, but it's not gonna be
Mm,
good.
Right.
You know, that's another way of weaponizing.
Right.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you're an abuser. Like basically,
Yeah,
you're an
basically.
abuser and you use sex as your weapon to abuse other people with the power and control that it brings to the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, that's full. So yeah, I'm with you, Jaja. That was deep. Oh, so he did give us the definition. Thank you,
Yes,
Spin
it
Cycle.
did.
Hi,
Definitely.
Karen. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thanks for enjoying our content and conversation.
Yeah. Yes. Thank
I guess
you.
next time I'm gonna have to put that the conversation may lead to mature audiences only, just so we can make sure that whoever decides to click on the play button is prepared for what comes afterwards. Because we do want real conversations for our
Mm-hmm.
communities, because we need a space, to have these
Yes.
conversations so that our relationships could be healthy, just all the way
Mm-hmm.
around.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Wow. This was good.
I was
It's a
reading
good
Spin Cycle
conversation.
definition. So we are every Friday night, we do our relationship flow sip and chat, and
Mm-hmm.
we talk about real talk conversations, as you guys can see this evening. And Doc and I will conversate, have that good communication and determine, unless you guys send us something directly that you want to talk about, but we will be posting usually by Tuesday of the week what the conversation is for that particular Friday. So we come to you every Friday at 8 p.m. Um, typically through the group of Relationship Flow, but I did share it out to other things today just so that we can have an audience. And we welcome to, if you want to come on the panel of the conversation, you
Yes,
can
let us
definitely
know.
join us. Let us know, because we welcome and invite every single person that listens to us to feel that transparency to come and join us as well. So Spin Cycle, if you ready to have a spin in the conversation from the panel perspective,
Yes.
please come on. Fletch, Jaja, Chad, we always appreciate your input. Everybody's input is great.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you,
thank you.
April, Devon, Denise, and I'm just naming the people that I actually see here.
Yeah, Ray
Thank you
was on
guys.
earlier.
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really
Mhm.
appreciate it, because it actually helps us keep focus on the topic, and try to give you as much information as we can, and and answer your questions.
Right. And he said, "Who, me with a bashful face?" Yes, you. You can come with your bashful face
That's right,
and be
with your
on the
bashful
panel
face.
with all
Yes,
your shenanigans that you have contributed to this wonderful conversation. Um,
yes.
so, how to get an abuser to recognize and desire to work through these issues? True. I
That's a
think that
good
will come up
topic.
if we did the sex as an addiction versus what was it? Consent that was said earlier.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think that we can tie that in to that conversation.
Mhm.
What's up, Duff? I know that's not the name it say on the screen. It say Darnell, but to me, what's
Okay.
up,
Duh.
Duff?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. That we can definitely dive into that topic.
Okay. So maybe well, we could decide off air. We don't have to let them know just yet. Just yet. So again, thank you guys for our Friday night sip and chat. Y'all didn't tell us what was in y'all cup. We told y'all what was in ours. I don't know if Doc still has some in hers. Net, yes, definitely you will enjoy the replay. If you catch us on the replay, please do hashtag replay and put your comments, because those are helpful to us as well.
Mhm.
So everybody be safe, stay safe, conversate, keep your communication going, and definitely keep positive intimacy going too. And we'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good
Can't,
night,
have a good
everybody.
night, everybody.
Bye.
You got right in time.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. You're a
Thank
resident,
you.
our
Yes.
resident
Thank
guest.
you.
I'm a
You be
brother.
all
Oh,
over the world.
okay. Something like that. Yeah, my location does change.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. She said her cup wasn't strong enough. Grown folks conversation. Okay,
Definitely a grown folk conversation tonight.
yes. All right. I'm taking us off live. Thank you guys.
All
We'll
right.
see you soon.